We get straight into Hustle Hard for this morning. And today we have a very interesting topic of discussion that is the business season for 2023, trying to perhaps give a projection of what we can expect in the year 2023. It's a new year. I don't know if we can still call it a new year now because we are already into it. But of course, it comes with new expectations, particularly for business people. But of course, your inflation, your unreliable supply chains, and a nation grappling unemployment are at the core of some of the economic issues we are facing as Zimbabwe. So as we get into the new year, I would like to stay positive and say the outlook might be brighter, especially for small business owners. And one of the most important things now is to focus on the elements of growing your business. You know, we've been through a lot. We've been through the pandemic. You know, a lot of things have been happening. But still, you need to take ownership and you need to take control of how you're going to run your business. Joining me in studio, the founder and CEO of Data Projects, Nigel Mutumbi. Good morning to you, Nigel. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So 2023. Let me just pick your brain as we start and try to understand what it means for business. Generally, a new year in a business setup. What does that mean?
A new year is new business. It's a continuity of business that wasn't, or work that wasn't finished off in 2022 that needed to be finished off as the year started. It's new challenges. It's new. It's changes on the market, political, laws, and a few things that you also have to deal with. So a new year does come with quite a number of new things that we also have to adapt to.
Absolutely. I like equating a business to a football team because of the variations that happen every season. You know,
True.
You want new players in there. You want your players to be fit and strong and to be taking on opponents. But I also wanted to talk about the approach now. Does it have to change because it's a new season of business? Or perhaps, you know, you've been doing good for quite a few seasons and you feel like this is the winning formula. But does the turn of the year or the turn of the business season necessarily mean that you also need to have a different approach?
Definitely. So the best approach to business is to have a new strategic plan or strategic change that you adapt to, because there's always a change of environmental factors that affect your business, which is your competition, your suppliers, there's obviously new players in every sector. The industry just changes well. This year is faced with a lot of tension. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But people are very hesitant to invest. People are very hesitant to make decisions. And all that is change that does affect a business. There's also opportunity of growth that an organization will come with in a new year. And that needs them to also implement a certain level of tactics and strategies to implement these things. So every year does need an organization to plan accordingly. And also remember, when you conclude your year, in this example 2022, you would have also noticed your highs and lows.
Right.
And you want to capitalize on your highs, and you want to also correct the lows and make sure that whatever was drawing you back is corrected in the new year. Be it your HR, be it your delivery, be it your quality of work, whatever was a drawback has to be corrected in the new year. So it is critical then to take this moment after your festive fever is gone, you get back to work and business. Make sure all these things are catered for and attention is put on this. I'll give a clear example of our situation. We had an end of year strategic and kind of a motivational function that we had with our staff members, where we picked areas of concern. And we had an opportunity where our staff members could speak about the negatives of the other openly.
Right.
Where we could pick that X has got a weakness in this and that and that. And we spoke of these issues openly. And as the year started, which is between January and now, where we are considering that business is slow, it doesn't stop us from doing our internal matters, which means that it's our time for us to reflect on these things. Did we fail to deliver last year because we didn't have adequate machinery to produce a particular product? Is it because one of our staff members constantly was absent or just wasn't effective? Was it a logistical issue that was slowing us down? Was it a location issue where we located in the wrong area? Could it help for us to have a certain branch or move whatever we have to a certain location so that we're this is the time to do it? So whilst we consider business low, it is low externally because customers are not coming through to give us what we expect to get. But it doesn't stop us from doing our internal changes that will find this business ready. I mean, that will when business comes to us, it's supposed to find us ready for it, and obviously be more effective than what we were in 2022.
It's an interesting perspective as well, because what I'm picking is when you are always planning and when you are always on your feet, thinking about how you can, smoothen up your operations, you are not found wanting. And which also brings me to my next question as well, because it seems as if in business there are a lot of people who look at things holistically, like, okay, business is low and everyone else is saying business is low, and therefore some people tend to relax as well because they're like, Saka, and it's really low for everyone. Then it means,
it's normal.
It's normal and it's going to pick up somewhere, but it's not going to pick up for everyone. Obviously, as a business, you know where you're going to pick up as well. What's the danger in now having that approach to business where you're just looking at other business and saying, so right now it's low in the business, market, and so things are going to pick up. What dangers are you getting yourself into when you look at it like that?
The danger is when business does come today, it's supposed to find you ready. You cannot then start from that day putting your house in order.
Yeah.
So your house has to be in order in preparation for business. This is a trend that happens every year. Maybe this year is exceptional because of anticipation of our political end of things, but it's going to come and go.
Yeah.
And we still have to proceed as business owners, as traders and stuff. So it may slow down business, but it doesn't mean that there is no business. And it doesn't mean that we slow down our practices because of that. So you find that by the time business gets back to normal, we cannot be found in an abnormal state. We are also supposed to be in a normal state. And like I mentioned earlier, what makes the preparedness of any organization is internal,
right?
Before external, because all we're supposed to do is to ensure that when business does come, we are ready and prepared for it. So in this moment where we are then saying business is slow, I haven't signed off contracts, I haven't got lucrative business for the year 2023. Let's take this opportunity then to sit down and reflect on ourselves and say, when business does come, are we ready for a project of 20 units? If it does come through, what do we need for us to be able to tackle it and deliver it on time? Because what we know is from an individual perspective, people are coming off bills of school fees and the festive bills and stuff, and we know by the end of this month or so, people are now ready to invest in other things that they want to do, be it a few renovations, a few developments and stuff. And then on the corporate end as well, it's also their planning process. Just like I'm planning in my organization, my customer that I'm anticipating to come to me is also going through that same process. Yeah. They're also planning and doing their budgets and stuff. And when they're ready, we are all supposed to be ready for each other. When they're ready with their budget and their request, we are also supposed to be ready to deliver whatever they want. So let's not dwell and focus on it is slow. Yes, it is slow, but it doesn't slow down our internal affairs.
Yeah, and it won't slow down forever as well.
True.
Still on preparedness, does it then mean when you are really prepared as a business, even in the event that you've got unforeseen circumstances? I mean, like you said, we know what's happening this year, and so we can
And we knew,
project.
and we knew
and
for,
exactly,
for a few years.
For a few years,
Yes.
So like it woke up,
Yeah.
and it's an event that just came about. But the state of preparedness, in the event that you've got unforeseen circumstances, does it then translate to, if you're well prepared, you're not really going to struggle? Well, you are going to struggle, but at least you know how to navigate that space, because yes, it's unforeseen, but at least we have a way of retaliating.
True. So you've got your fixed costs, your regular bills that you have to take care of on a monthly basis, and in your planning 2022 into end of 2022 into 2023, you'd have already planned and anticipated that, assuming that business is low between January and March for whatever anticipated reasons, we're supposed to be prepared to cover XYZ until we've managed to start generating income and stuff. So yes, that does come with preparedness and planning. So in this period, we are living off those resources that we set aside in 2022 in anticipation of this period. Though yes, here and there you can pick some small business some small business and small monies that will keep you afloat, but we had time to plan for this. So that's what we live off, and this happens in any situation, in any country, through different years. You are always going to have your highs and lows, and you're supposed to be always prepared for those highs and lows. Have a contingency amount, have a budget that you can fall back to when things are in the state they are now.
Is it always the case, though, that a business year might start low, or perhaps it's also subjective, where this last year things were actually on a high when you started in January, but this year it's on the flip side?
It's a trend. I would say it's a trend. Personally, I've concluded that it's a trend. Over the years that I've been in business, you get a good year and an average year, sometimes even a bad year. So when you're going through the year and you feel it's a good year in comparison to the previous year, then you should also anticipate the next year to may not be so as good as that year you're trading in. Like I was saying, 2022 was very busy. It could have been because people wanted to make sure that they have covered ground before this year.
Yeah.
Right? So because of that rush, we, from a business perspective, we assumed that business is good. And we overlooked the fact that no, people are pushing to cover ground before the slow year comes. So it was prudent for us to make sure that in that year where business was good, we have managed to salvage a lot that can take us through this slow period that we're going through and keep us afloat, anticipating for probably business getting better from March, April, thereon, and then the year becomes much better than before.
Interesting. Now, moving on to something else, creativity seems to be rewarding a lot of businesses in the current landscape. And when I talk about creativity, I'm talking about perhaps how you market your products, how you approach your clients, how you even look as well as a business, your interface, whatever it is. What really does it take in terms of creative business to make the mark or to be outstanding like many businesses are right now?
In our sector, it's I'll give you an example of my particular situation. We've got a showroom where we showcase the products that we manufacture and supply, and we make it a point that every year we change the showroom to make sure that it's adaptive of the new look, the new trends and stuff. So that is one thing that we have to, no matter what excuse we want to come up with, that has to be done, because trends are changing, like you're saying. We also have issue of presentation, like you said. It's little small things like your uniforms, your dress codes, your whatever that means people, but the people wear. When the year starts, let's show our clients that we are ready, prepared, and presentable for whatever they're bringing. Our branding, our advertising budgets and stuff would have also anticipated how much we would need to use for the new year towards our social media, towards our outdoor advertising, or our magazines. We've got a lot of magazines now that are going around, where you can get slots and pages and stuff. So all that has to be something that we prepare for, is in this period, coming from end of 2022 into 2023, just so that you reassure people that you're still in business and you can still offer even more than you're offering in 2022. And just a reminder, like we spoke on other programs, we need to keep reminding our clients that we can offer this. We now can offer this because we are trading in a market of people that have a lot of exposure. The Zimbabweans travel a lot, and you realize when in January, one person who had a design that they wanted in their home has completely changed because of where they went on holiday,
what they saw, what they were exposed to.
Yes, and then when they come through, we need to be on the same level and understand what they're trying to implement on their home, in their offices and stuff. So all those things we have to reassure our clients that we are capable of implementing and delivering that to them.
Absolutely. I saw this other woman, I think I know Bigger Sads. And she had a very funny t-shirt Takachi Master she gave me. And I thought it was really cool because she took advantage of the trend or whatever the current saying is, and it fits into the whole being creative and, really attracting customers as well. You spoke about social media, which I think right now, or perhaps in the past 5 years, has become a very vital cog in terms of pushing our businesses, especially since the pandemic. A lot of businesses have actually grown because of social media. Do you think now is the time for businesses to take advantage of this social media frenzy, to push your numbers, to attract customers, to, perhaps, grow your territory?
Definitely. It's I think now the viewership on Facebook, on Instagram is amazing, and even on websites, people half the time people want to just confirm who you are. They want to log onto your website, they want to log onto your page and stuff. So it is important that we update these platforms and make sure that we communicate as well. And from a marketing budget perspective as well, it does add value a lot, because you realize that if you've got a page that you boost, your viewership is a million times more than what you do if you're using the normal traditional advertising channels. So yes, let's take advantage of it.
Interesting. Finally, when you are on the lookout for a new year, you spoke about how you had a strategy at the end of the year. And I think most businesses have that problem of then saying, okay, this is now a new year, it's January. What are we doing for this year? Which is something that you should have done perhaps 3-4 months back to say, we've got a new year coming. What exactly is our plan? What are we doing this year? How important is it to do things in time, to strategize and plan in time, so that, when you get into a new business year, you know exactly what you want to do?
Okay. So the way we do it is you realize that this slow trend that we're speaking about starts first week of December of every year into the new year, which is the first 2 months of the new year. So what we normally do is we reflect on the year ending in December, where we then look at what we achieved, what we failed to achieve, and how we can achieve it in the next year. We try and make it a tradition of having an end of year function slash team building session where we sit down and then discuss these things openly and admit where we have failed, so that we then reflect on these areas when the new year starts. So as for us, from January to now, we are slowly reflecting and picking on those things that we discussed in December. And we are implementing tactics that we are supposed to use to be able to achieve what we want. And the same practice is going to apply again in December of 2023, where we're going to reflect again on what we were hoping to achieve this year and what we did achieve and what we failed on. And we also point that for the year 2024. So it's supposed to be a cycle that you follow every year. And we have to admit that we may plan a lot of things and some of them may fail, but it doesn't mean that we dump those plans. Issues of growth of a business, issues of we want to open a branch in a certain town and stuff. Yes, we may anticipate that it happens this year, but for some unknown reasons, we failed to achieve it. But we don't exit. We still push it into the year 2024 and make sure that we work towards it. So some of our goals may not be achieved in the time that we wanted them to be achieved, but it doesn't mean that we dump them. So we still have to keep reflecting on them and see how we can achieve them. It's so easy to note what went wrong in 2021, 22, 23 that hindered us from achieving that, because you've got a tracking system that helps you look at it. But if you then don't have a system where you follow and monitor your growth and stuff, then you may not even notice where you're going wrong. So it is important as an organization to make sure that whatever you want to achieve, whichever strategies you have as an organization, they are well defined and they will stay there until you have managed to achieve them, and you don't exit them because you have failed to. Because if as an organization or as a management you have agreed that at some point you're supposed to have 2 branches in Harare and Bulawayo, it means that you've identified the need. So no matter how long it's going to take you to achieve it, it is still a need. And as you go, you're also supposed to be researching what's also happening in Bulawayo. In the time that you failed to open a branch, is there no competition that has come, and what are they offering the market? So you are slowly adjusting your strategies to make sure that even by the time that you open another branch in Bulawayo, you're still going to be countering your competition that has come ahead of you. But you don't then say, we're not going to open it because someone has already opened, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be competition.
Yeah.
So it means at some point you're going to get to a point where you actually say, no, I'm just closing it off because there's another player on the market. So we're supposed to be as aggressive as that to make sure that we force ourselves into the market, we force ourselves into the share we're entitled to, and we do whatever it takes to achieve that.
Absolutely. I know I said it was the final thing, but one final thing now. The follow through. What hinders the follow through for most businesses? Is it because sometimes perhaps you were not successful the last time and you're like, or perhaps sometimes you not going to lack the enthusiasm to follow through, especially something that you had said, okay, we are doing this in 2023, and then you are at the end of 2023 and you're like, but we haven't really touched base on the things that we're supposed to.
I think where the challenge is, we mix up our strategies and our tactics in business.
Right.
Because when we talk of a tactic, we're talking of what we want our organization to become. And then our tactics are the day-to-day things that we are going to do to become that. So what then happens is, when these things don't happen, we are supposed to adjust on the tactics, not adjust on the strategy. So what then happens is, when we fail to do, okay, I would have anticipated to produce 20 desks in a month, and then I didn't employ the appropriate human resources to achieve that, and then in a month I've only produced 5. I shouldn't stop the idea of wanting to produce 20.
Yeah.
All I need to do is to make sure that I get the right HR to produce the 20. But the idea of 20 desks being produced in a month has to stay. So what happens is in most businesses, we then completely dump the strategy and what we want to become, because we have failed on the tactical end of things. So that's when people then say, I know my business is failing, it's not coming through. It's not really that what we want to achieve is not attainable, but it's what we have used to achieve it that just wasn't right. And we need to reflect back and pick where we went wrong and correct it and still stay within our strategies of the organization.
So essentially, you might not reach the target in time, but still, you still need to follow through.
True.
Interesting. Nigel, thank you so much for your time. Eye-opening, refreshing as well. And I'm hoping that we helped one or two businesses out there project 2023 business season.
True. Thank you.
Awesome. 17 minutes before we get to 11, the founder, CEO of Data Projects, Nigel Mutumbi, there. The business season for 2023. So many nuggets that came out of this conversation. And I really hope that, as you get into business 2023, you might have got one or two things that will help you follow through as well. It's a wrap on Hustle Hard.